Hello, everybody. This is Juanana here. Today's topic is about discourse analysis. I'm going to talk about words of interpersonal dimension. In short, I'm going to talk about how the way we use words can affect the feeling of others. We can use different styles, different words to incite people's anger, or make people sympathize with us, or make people respect us. So without further ado, let's dive to my PowerPoint slides.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so here comes our topic, words of interpersonal dimension. So these are words that are used to establish relations between us and other people. And so let's see how we do this through language and vocabulary. So this is taken from this textbook, chapter 3, especially page 100 up to 106. Now, first thing is formality of vocabulary. You can check it out on the textbook itself. You have here the core meaning, and then the positive emotion, and then the negative emotion, which means that if you use this, it's likely to induce positive feeling. If you use negative emotion, then you will likely trigger some negative reaction or negative emotion. And then you have a formal style, and then you have informal. Yeah, there is one more thing that I didn't include here is dialectal. I think you can find it yourself later. Yeah. So the core meaning of the first word is thin. That's the core meaning. If we want to associate it with something positive, then we would say slim or slender. Yeah. But if we want to trigger negative emotion, then we will use skinny, and that is associated with something bad, something negative, something undesirable. Yeah, so it's really a matter of style here. And then if you prefer formal style, then you would say, or you would write emaciated, which is really a technical or a formal term for thin. Yeah. And then next word is determination. The core meaning is determination, and the positive emotion is perseverance. So if you want to have a positive style, if you want to express a positive style, then you use perseverance. That is associated with positive emotion. Okay, but if you want to prefer negative style, or you want to trigger something negative, then you would use obstinacy or stubbornness. That is something more negative than perseverance. Perseverance sounds more positive, while obstinacy sounds negative, sounds bad, sounds undesirable. Okay. The formal term is motivation, and the informal term is willpower. So from this simple table, you can see there are quite different ways of expressing words which have the same meaning but a different style. Okay, so you can choose in your wording whether you want to trigger something positive, or whether you want to cause something negative, or whether you want to sound formal, or whether you want to sound informal. So there is a range of style in your use of words. Okay. Now we have also emotional meaning. There are three types of emotional meaning, or we call it spins. Neutral, like the word thin, that's neutral. But negative is skinny. So if you say, you are skinny, or she is skinny, that is likely to be a negative emotion. That's likely to trigger something negative, to trigger a negative feeling. If you want to insult someone, you can say, you are skinny now. That's a negative emotion. Yeah. But if you want to sound positive, then we would rather use the word slim. Okay, slim. Now there is another category which is affective words. Affective words actually is empty of conceptual meaning. So they have their main function is to express a very strong feeling. Most likely it's going to be disappointment or anger or excitement, wild excitement. So you express these feelings using what we call affective words. Now the words that you use actually do not mean their connotative meaning. Do not mean their denotative meaning. Yeah, so they are conceptually empty because they are used only to express a strong feeling. So for example, you have a swear words. For example, you say, fuck this virus. Now the word fuck here has got nothing to do with having sex. So if you say, fuck this virus, you do not mean to say that you want to have sex with the virus. You use this fuck because you want to express your feeling, because you want to express your rage over the persistent virus. Yeah. You hate the virus so much that you have to express it, and the way you express it is using an affective word, and in this case is the word fuck. Yeah, but again, fuck here does not mean having a sexual relationship. So that's why it is empty of its conceptual meaning. Now, affective words can also be used as intensifiers. For example, this room is bloody hot. Bloody here intensifies the adjective part. So this can be used as intensifier. This pandemic is horribly devastating. Yeah, horribly is another affective word which intensifies the adjective devastating. Okay. And then we have a conceptualization. This is used to describe emotions rather than expressing it. Describe rather than express. So if you use conceptualization words, you want to describe the feeling rather than express your feeling. And for example, he is having depression. Now this phrase, having depression, is a conceptualization of that feeling of being depressed. And then you have euphemism. This is used to soften taboo or negative spin. It is used to avoid direct reference to something unpleasant or impolite. So if you want to say something unpleasant, something bad, something dirty, something obscene, or impolite meaning, then you tend to use euphemism. You would use euphemism in order to soften that meaning, that unpleasant or impolite meaning. You tone down the words in such a way so that nobody would feel disgusted or would feel offended because of the direct reference to something unpleasant or something impolite. For example, you have prostitutes. Yeah, prostitutes. Instead of saying prostitutes, you would say comfort woman. This is of course a euphemism for something that is considered impolite. Yeah. This is too direct. Prostitute is too direct. That's why you need to use a euphemism in place of prostitutes. Then you say comfort woman. In your language, Indonesian language, I think it's very common for you to replace kencing with buang air kecil. So in a situation, you will say that instead of saying saya mau kencing, you will say saya mau buang air kecil. Now, buang air kecil is a euphemism for kencing, because kencing is a more direct reference to something unpleasant. Okay, yeah. Now, in terms of emotional meaning, there is another interesting category which is called contested terms here. Contested terms of some words or phrases in a society, some may cause offense and some may sound neutral or more indirect. And so some words may cause others to be provoked or others to be angry. If you use those words, they will be angry or they will be upset, yeah, or they will be disappointed. But also there are some other terms which are softer than the previous ones, and these words sound more neutral. Now in the society, these two types seem to compete with each other, depending on who say or who write those words. So if you are against a community or a group in society, then you would use a term which derogates them, a term which demeans them, a term which essentially abuses them, a term which will anger them, or a term which make them feel alienated or discriminated. In essence, these are the terms which will make them feel bad. But uh, some of your friends may disagree with you, and they decide to use other terms or other phrases which sound neutral to describe this community. Yeah. So, for example, um, if you are if you do not like homosexuals, you would say that, oh, this is faggots, or this is gays. Yeah. But people who sympathizes with the gay people would probably use some other terms. Yeah. And if these terms are used in the society, they seem to be competing against each other. And that's why the name is contested terms. So, for example, in US, you have the word nigger, which is very rude. Negro, ya, orang negro, nigger. Uh, and then another contested term is black. And then you still have Afro-American, which is softer, more indirect. And then this is the least direct, person of color. So the further you go to the right, the more euphemistic it sounds. Yeah? The more polite it sounds, the more indirect it sounds. But in the society, um, these coexist in the society. People who do not like black people would say nigger. Yeah. But people who sympathize with black people who are not racist would say Afro-American or even person of color. Now, in American society, these two terms are competing with each other. That's why they are contested terms. Yeah. In our culture, in Indonesian culture, you have a keluarga miskin. Of course, keluarga miskin is not very nice to hear, right? If somebody says that, oh, you belong to keluarga miskin, Anda ini kan termasuk keluarga miskin. It's not nice to hear. That will hurt you if you happen to belong to keluarga miskin. So instead of keluarga miskin, there is another contesting word or contesting term, which is rakyat ekonomi lemah. Now, ekonomi lemah sounds more polite, more indirect than keluarga miskin. Yeah. And then still we have another one, keluarga prasejahtera. Now this is uh, further, this is more indirect than rakyat ekonomi lemah or even keluarga miskin. This is the most polite version, most polite terms, keluarga prasejahtera. Okay, but in our society, of course, this exist together. They coexist, and if you don't like the government and you want to criticize the government for not taking care of the poverty, then you will say keluarga miskin. Look, your government is doing a poor job in uh, abolishing poverty. There are many keluarga miskin. Yeah. Of course, this will provoke some kind of feeling, some kind of sentiment among the people who hear your speech or you read your writing, for example. But if you are pro the government, if you side with the government, you would refer to those families as keluarga prasejahtera, which is more indirect, more polite, and yeah, in essence, it is a softer term. But since keluarga miskin and keluarga prasejahtera exist together in society, some people use keluarga miskin, some people use keluarga prasejahtera, and then they can be considered as contested terms. They belong to this category of contested terms. They compete with each other in the society, in the discourse of the society. Okay, you can, as an assignment, you can find any posting on any social media which contain emotional meanings and mention their types. So I took this from Twitter. That's a very rude expression. The word "nyet" there, shorten of monyet. Yes, definitely effective words. Bangsat is also effective words. So you can find an expression like this, yeah. Or you can find as an alternative to the first assignment, you can also find any text that contains euphemism or contested terms or technical or formal phrases in a discourse. Okay. So that's all my lecture. I hope I have made everything clear. Keep reading the book, follow my lecture. Thank you. Good luck, stay safe and stay healthy. Goodbye.